Hello everyone, the name's Soulgiven, and I collect arms. Welcome to Ultrakill. In this game, you get to play as a funny blue GoPro who has to quench his thirst through drinking bodily fluids. Wow, that came out wrong. As of recently, New Blood has finally revealed the fraud layer, which is set to come out on... Oh, come on, really man? No actual date? So I thought, hey, you know, might as well take this opportunity to make a review on this game as it is. Such an original idea. So let us talk about why is one of the best shooters of all time. I don't know how drunk Akira was when making this game, because the gameplay is a clusterfuck to say the least. A very fun clusterfuck, mind you. Akira just decided to throw in several mechanics that you think wouldn't work, but turns out work very well. Good. And if the player were to say master all of them, they could effectively do whatever they want. This game is just pure, constant rush of dopamine, you know, it just tickles my brain the right way. First you have your arsenal. You have a gun. You see an enemy, point in the general direction, right, click, enemy is gone. But wait, there's more. You have your arms, the first one being the feedbacker. Now, aside from basically being able to fist your enemies, you have another good use for it. This thing can basically deflect and parry almost any projectile. And this, by the way, includes some of your own projectiles, which I'll get into in a minute. Then there's the knuckle blaster, which you unlock from a boss fight. It's basically the feedbacker, but it can't parry, but it can hit really hard. It can also explode. Nice. Next, there's the whiplash, which allows you to invade your enemy's personal space, whether it's pulling them in or going towards them. Really depends if they're obese or not. Then, of course, there's the ground slam and the climb, which, well, those are pretty self-explanatory. Now, the reason why I didn't quite fully explain guns in the first section was because there's just way too many. As of right now, there's 5 base guns, and each of those 5 base guns have a side grade. And 3 of the base guns have an alternative, which can also mix with the side grades, which, if you do the math, that's a lot of freaking guns. And the funny thing is, that's not where it ends, because there's a lot of combinations you can do with it. Let me explain. So, you get your hands on the coin revolver, the Marksman, which allows you to throw a coin upon hitting right-click. The bullet will ricochet off of it and hit a nearby enemy. Now, you might get a little curious and try to test things out. You will throw the coin and then fire at it with your railgun, and then you will be surprised to see that it actually works, and that will get you wondering, well, hold on. Does that mean there's more gun combinations that I can use to synergize their abilities? The answer may shock you. And with the overwhelming amount of guns that we have, it's no surprise that we can do, well, a lot. And don't forget the arms, because those can also come into play with the gun combinations. Now I hear you say, well, hold on, why would I waste my time doing all this unnecessary junk? I'll just stick to one gun till the end and just beat the game that way. Well, I mean you can, but you also can't. So blood is actually an important mechanic. If you kill an enemy while up close and have the blood splash over you, you regenerate. Cool. Unfortunately for you, you're not. You see, there's this thing called hard damage, which effectively decreases your HP cap, and you know what happens when you have less HP? That's right! You get your ass wrecked! And it doesn't matter how much blood you douse yourself into, because the HP cap is still there. So how do I get rid of it, you might ask? Simple. Make sure that tab right there has as many words as possible and that you have the highest rank. Let me introduce you to the style system. Playing more stylishly will remove some of that HP cap until it's completely gone. Some criteria such as killing an enemy, switching through weapons very quickly, parrying, countering other attacks, and just doing whatever the f this is will make that style go high. The game essentially benefits you for playing risky and in a more silly way, and that is what I wish I could see in more games. Now before we conclude the gameplay segment, we gotta talk about the enemies. Ultrakill provides a diverse set of enemies for you to turn into a red face. Some are fodder, others commit active terrorism, some always have your location. This guy is an annoying piece of shit, and this other one will make it so that only one hand is available while fighting it. Speaking of one hand, the Ultrakill community.
What the f***? Holy shit, dude, what's the matter? What happened? What's going on?
There's so much
But of course, aside from the normal enemies, you also have the bosses. A sort of benchmark to determine whether you picked up any good skills along the way to fight your next set of enemies. One of my favorites being the cheap Chinese knockoff. He's basically you, but red. The way I see it, from the very start of Prelude all the way to the end of Limbo, the whole game has effectively been a tutorial. V2 is basically the bar of where you're supposed to be by the time you reach him. He fights like you, acts like you, uses almost every single weapon you do. Best him in this mirror match and you are ready for the next layer. That is basically how most of these Ultrakill bosses are set up. A challenge, a step to the next level, a benchmark to decide whether you're ready for the challenges ahead. Gabriel is also a great example of this. Now, some Ultrakill bosses aren't necessarily meant to be challenging, but more like visual spectacles. Some examples such as the Icon of Sin, in which you can literally parry his fists. Then we got bosses such as the 69th Devourer of Gods Resprite, because the devs behind Calamity clearly don't know where else the fuck to put their resources into. Then of course there is Pacific Rim. And I mean, I guess there are some other bosses that kind of function as gags, and that's really it. What the f? But overall, that is all there is to say about the bosses. Now let us move on to the next section. When it comes to Prime Sanctums, the difficulty between them and normal levels is astronomical. You will get your ass kicked on your first go. Prime Sanctums are very challenging secret levels that can only be unlocked if you perfectly play each level prior to it. For example, for P-1, you need to P-rank every single level prior, all the way from Prelude to the end of Act 1. For P-2, you need to have beaten P-1 in the first place and then P-rank everything in Act 2. I like to think that the reason why the devs made it so difficult to unlock these challenges in the first place is so that it could serve as a warning, but more importantly, to prepare you. Because if you were to sort of walk in, you would think this whole fight is BS, because you haven't mastered all your skills by now. And hey, in all fairness, they're not necessary to complete. They are secrets, and they're completely optional. But I do like the fact that the game pretty much gives you a reason to replay previous levels so that you can try out other things. And if you watch my first set of videos, then you know that I was miserable fighting these guys. What the fuck? All the tracks each have their own place, appropriate for certain characters, certain environments, and generally just for moments. In conclusion,
it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Overall, I'd say the game is really good, and when I said in the beginning that this might be one of the best first-person shooters of all time, I really mean it. Now, I do have one minor gripe, and that there isn't any more. This game is really just perfect. I have no complaints with it, other than that I just wish to see more. I look forward to see what this game has to offer. I look forward to the fraud layer, and, well, how this game concludes in general. This game deserves a score no other than a 10 out of 10.
I'm not sure if I'll ever have any 10 out of 10s in the future, but for now this will be my first. If you disagree in the comments, I don't know, try to argue with me, maybe I'll respond or not. But anyway, like, subscribe, share the video around, or I'll deploy Sisyphus Prime to your house.